Hello, Cortex Vortex listeners, and welcome back to The Vortex, where we talk about how neuroscience, cognitive science, and philosophy come together to teach us about ourselves, the human experience, and the way that the world works. So for this episode, I want to talk about automatic versus intentional processing, and how the modern view in the media has influenced the way that we think about these things, and maybe should have us reconsidering how we're making our decisions. So without further ado, let's step into the vortex. So the media has the ability to spread information very fast. One person makes a video, it hits 5 people's For You pages or Reels pages, and more people are making videos about the same thing, and suddenly an idea that started with one person or a cohort of people is spread to thousands and millions of people. So recently, I've seen a huge uptick, and I've talked to my friends about this and my family about this, and a huge uptick in people preaching intentionality. And the issue with this, with the media, is that first of all, words lose their meaning and they get diluted because people change the definitions, and it's like playing a giant game of telephone, and all of a sudden the meaning that you started out with, the true meaning, maybe the true meaning, but the meaning you started out with is really not the meaning that you're hearing at the end of the day. So that's like one side of it. But I think that this intentionality actually turns into a really negative loop, especially with the media, because you see a video about being intentional about something and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I should be intentional about it. And you like the video, or you don't even have to like the video. You watch the entire video and you scroll, and all of a sudden the algorithm is giving you 15, 20 more videos about people telling you to be intentional about different things. And all of a sudden, your brain is going into overload, and you are questioning whether the things that you're doing now are good enough, and whether your unhappiness and your failure is because you're not thinking enough. And it turns into this kind of loop of mistrust in yourself. And suddenly, you're seeing a video about something, about being intentional about something, and you're going to be intentional about it, and then you're coming back to your device to find something new to be intentional about, and you're going through this process over and over again until you hit kind of a mindless loop of doing this, and it turns intentionality into unintentionality. Mindlessness, almost. And in the process, you are adopting behaviors and thoughts of people that aren't yourself, and I think it kind of withers away at our authenticity and our autonomy. So I think we ought to really be exercising and practicing making automatic decisions, and also noticing what decisions are our own and what decisions have been kind of biased or put seeds into our brain to create biases towards making certain decisions. So I want to talk about how my conversation with Professor Vera Tobin a couple weeks ago, where we talked about unconscious processing. I use that term lightly because unconscious too has really been withered away by the media, but this is processing that happens under the surface or without us knowing too much about it. And this processing, as she articulates, and if you haven't checked that out, please check it out. She is really a pro at what she does, and she's very articulate. But she says how this unconscious processing is actually really crucial for the way that we function in our society, because it allows us to have time and cognitive resources to do things that are hard. When a lot of our decisions can fall under the surface and we don't have to think too much about them, it saves all these cognitive resources for us to make intentional, higher order decisions when we really need to. So this can mean like complex problem solving, it could mean future planning, it could be creating something. And this kind of, first of all, the automatic decision making comes from your authentic self, so that's one side of it. But another side of it is you have all this room, all this cognitive energy that you can use towards making authentic decisions and acting authentically to serve yourself. So for some people, this might look like creating. Maybe you finally have the energy, the mental energy to be the artist that you've always thought of, or write the book that you've always been thinking about. Or maybe the physics problems that you're solving are not as hard as they were because you have the cognitive energy to do so. With this intentionality that's being preached, our cognitive resources are being given to really simple things, and you're doing these things maybe not even in your best interest, but just because you saw someone else doing it and you think that you should be doing it. So I want you to consider whether the decisions that you're making are truly authentic. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be intentional about things, but is the intentionality that you're doing to your detriment, or is it to your benefit? And if you find yourself thinking that a lot of your decisions and a lot of your ideas are not necessarily your own, or you feel like you don't have enough time and mental energy to do things that serve your authentic self, consider making more automatic decisions. Consider exercising that automatic decision making and see if your authentic self really comes out from that. So, thank you for joining me today in the Vortex, and I hope to see you next time. I have some really, really cool stuff coming up, and we're going to be talking about this, we're going to be talking about mindfulness, and we're going to kind of be clearing up how intentionality in the media is not necessarily the intentionality that's been taught for decades and decades. So I'm really excited for that, and I hope you join me then. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the Vortex.